I hope you guys can see my screen.
Yes.
Yes.
Great.
And you can enter plain. There you go.
Okay, so AKC is a shortcut for advanced, keen, and capable. I am Mohd Amin of Qura. I'm the one who founded the company in order to bring a brand new invention to the market. Now, AKC is all about parasitic infection. As we all know, parasites feed on our loved ones and on us, and our technology at AKC can stop that. Why we chose this field? Because the traditional treatment is so outdated and it has so many problems. The obvious ones, medication overload. Doctors tend to overprescribe the medication, and that tends to have a lot of problems. Mainly because your doctor is guessing whether you have the parasitic infection or not. And if your doctor is guessing, imagine how self-diagnosis is impractical. It comes with that high cost and time consuming, since it does require microscopic analysis and multiple appointments with the doctor office. It also comes with it physical and psychological complications, especially when you know most patients who's affected are kids. AKC comes with a very simple solution. It's a kit. You scan along with your cell phone using our algorithm, and it will give you the results in seconds. Why now is the perfect time? While we are speaking, there are 46 million plus Americans have no option in treating their pinworm infections. In the next decade, medication overload that we talked about could result in 74 million outpatient visits, 4.6 million hospitalizations, 150,000 premature deaths. The cost for healthcare system will be around $62 billion. Why AKC? AKC is founded to bring the innovation from working concept to working product and benefit all parties helping to succeed. AKC unique and new disruptive strategy that ensure a global reach and patent counter theft. Marketing. The trend in the market is to improve healthcare. And this is what AKC about. The market size and the target demographic is huge. After all, our solution is testing. And somebody who needs testing, not necessarily one of the 46 million that are infected. Anybody has doubt they might have the infection, they will benefit from your solution and your product. People awareness relatively inexpensive, especially with online advertisement. Partnerships are wide and promising, since we can partner with software companies, with manufacturers, retailers, etc. Research and development can open a new opportunities. We will continue at AKC to research and develop our product and improve it more and more, and even come up with more patents. Scalability of both online and retail market. Our thinking is to start in Central Florida, go nationwide, then go globally. Financials. The founder and the team support. As a founder and a team, we took care of all the expenses until this point, and we will take care of most of the expenses until we start production. We do have the novel patent pricing power. We are the first in the market. We also have a strategic crowdfunding campaign that started yesterday, less than 24 hours. It's allow you to make a donation that it will count to give you 10% discount of your future investing in AKC or AKC sisters, up to 10 times the amount of the donation. Our cash flow plan break even on month 6 after production. Our team, I'm the founder and the CEO, and I believe we are capable to invent our advanced technologies through keen, innovative ways. My co-CEO, my lawyer, the marketing advisor, and the business assistants. I did my best to make it as short as it could to fulfill the 6 minutes required. And I thank you all for listening, and I'm opening for your questions.
Awesome. Thank you, Mo. Thank you for sharing.
Thank you.
This is really interesting. So is this software only, or is there hardware in your solution
both.
as well?
It's both. It's a hardware and a software. We're gonna sell the kit. The plan is we're gonna sell it online and in the retail pharmacy. When you go to the retail pharmacy right now, you can buy the pinworm medication over the counter. So you can. Our plan is to have our kit to be sold next to it. So now you will have the option to test for the disease before you take a medication. Before, because doctors were guessing, they used to tell their patients, hey, go take the medication. If you cured, then you have the infection. If you didn't, then come back to me. And this is really ineffective. I've seen so many people, they just refusing to take the treatment as a result of that. And with us having the hardware sold in the retail, all what you need to do is just to purchase it, use it along with the software that you download in your cell phone, and snap few pictures. That's it.
Yeah, that's actually incredible. I've got some more questions on that, but Eric has a question. Are you planning to use this mostly in the US or elsewhere in the world?
The pinworm infection that we are starting to treat in is a global issue. According to the European Health Institute, it's 1 billion infected person every year worldwide. And this, I guess, was in 2016. Now the number is up. So we are going globally. But we are starting where I am right now in Central Florida.
Okay. Mark mentions that it looks like pinworm detection is pretty easy with a flashlight or by checking for eggs on a piece of tape with a microscope. So what's special? Yeah, what's special about what you're doing? What specialized hardware or software is needed?
It actually is not that easy with a flashlight. The flashlight is not practical. What he's suggesting is the self-diagnosis. Self-diagnosis is impractical right now. Most cases, you are not sure whether this is a pinworm or not. My device will give you assurance.
Okay. Mitch's question, does the medication go to a direct site, and do you guys use nanotechnology parameters? Well,
we use micro technology when it comes to the software. And I'm talking about the algorithm that we are using. And this is improving it every day with the cell phone technology. And that's make it easier for us every day. In future, we are planning to use the LiDAR sensor technology that iPhone came up with. And we're not going to be only limited to pinworm infection. We also will separate to roundworms that affect dogs and cats, and other parasitic diseases that we will be able to detect through our invention.
Okay. How are you manufacturing the kits? And then that's question number one. And then question number two is, why are you manufacturing the kits? Because it seems like your main IP is in the software and the algorithm, correct?
No, actually, not necessary.
Yeah. Okay.
No. The kit will have at least in the prototype, it will have two main advantages. You're not going to be able to do it at home. First advantage, the light source. This will sound a little bit counterproductive, but light has noise too. Light, it consists of waves, just like sound, and it has noise. So if you are gonna, for example, like what the gentleman said, if you use your flashlight has a lot of noise, light noise in it, and that will affect the accuracy of the results. The kit will have its own light source that will make the results more accurate. It also will be easy to attach to your cell phone and to use to take the sample. So the kit will have so many advantages. At this point, we don't have an algorithm or software can work without the kit and give you the accurate result you are looking for. After all, we are doing a medical test, so our accuracy should be high.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about. I used to be an electromagnetic engineer, so you're
Exactly.
100% right on the type of light and frequencies and all that. Yeah, are there certain regulations that you have to abide by? What are the regulations and what you're trying to do? And do you expect to get industry pushback, or like who's going to try and stop you from doing this because you're bringing something new and innovative that's going to cut out profit somewhere else, right?
This is a new innovation. According to the FDA regulation, if you wish to market your device as FDA approved, is most likely will be considered as a class 1 medical device. A class 1 medical device is like the toothbrush, is as safe as a toothbrush. Certainly, I don't expect a pushback from government agencies. I don't also expect a pushback from pharmaceutical companies because they are so busy right now with other fields connected to Corona, and that's that field that it has a huge spotlight on it. The field that we are working on is really outdated. Nobody has innovated anything in it since decades, and that's give us an advantage. That hey, we will have competition in the future. Success will bring competition. Patent hopefully will protect it. But right now, at least, I feel like we are the only one who is focusing on this issue.
Okay, I was just thinking in terms of over medication being very profitable for the pharmaceuticals. But Mark has a question. Can you share more about the characteristics of your light source and how LiDAR can be used? Also, have you demonstrated efficacy?
Okay, for the light, I don't want to give more of my trade secret, especially when we're talking about the prototype that we have right now. I'm still working on it and developing on it. The only the other question is, I'm sorry, I forgot the second part of the question.
Have you demonstrated efficacy? How well does this work?
Yes, I have done several tests. I actually have 5 prototypes, and I have so many designs. So it's different from prototype to another, but the efficacy, if you use it as recommended, is always above 90% in all 5 prototypes.
Okay. So why is this important to you? Is there something in particular that brought you into this specific field or invention? Something? Why is this important to you, and why do you feel you're the right person to bring this to market?
Well, it actually is a personal story. It started when I was a kid. I went to visit my cousin in different area, like in the countryside, in Damascus, where I born. And it happened that a child, his neighbor, had this parasitic infection. So we sat on a close spot, and we were not very close. We didn't want to be infected. We were children, but we were aware that something wrong with that guy. And my cousin started to make fun of that guy. And he used to tell me, you know, let's wait. I bet you. And we were kids, and you know, kids, you do fool things. I bet you that this guy cannot stand 60 seconds without scratching his ass. I'm sorry about that, but that what happened. And I was like, no way. And we start to time, and every time he failed to hold himself for 60 seconds, we start laughing. We cannot catch ourselves. I will prevent ourselves from that. And then his father came. And when his father came, he came angry, and he started hitting my cousin. And it was trauma for me. I remember everybody tells me, hey, I become yellow for hours. And I start thinking of this problem. Later on, when I became a pharmacist, I didn't find a solution in the textbook, like a satisfying solution. And later on, when I came to the US, I was actually reading a pharmaceutical book, totally different about the subject. It was about the heart and the heart medications. And suddenly the idea, it hits me, hey, I can use this technology and this characteristics in the pinworm parasites in order to make an easy to use test. And I dropped the book, I started working on the idea, and then I contacted a lawyer who used to be, sorry, I'm taking so long. I contacted the best lawyer in patent attorney I can find, and I asked him to do the research. He did the research, he didn't find anything interesting. And the result was I filed the patent and I started the project. So it's kind of
Wow.
personal to me, like it has a personal story, and it's highlight the effect on our kids. Like that kid, for example, he will stuck with psychological issues for the rest of their life. I'm not the only one who has this memory, and his
Yeah.
memory probably is worse than us. So that's why bringing this innovation is very important to me. It touched me at personal level.
Very interesting. Real quick, what's your timeline for FDA approval?
Well, before Corona used to be for class 1 innovation 6 months. With Corona, we are witnessing some delay. So I would say that will jump to 12 months. But you don't have to get the FDA approval. For class 1 medication, you can get the basic approval. You don't have to prove anything. You just say it might help discovering the test. It might help aiding you testing for pinworm. So if you do that, you just have by law, I think, because an OTC protection, you have to write on it that is not FDA approved.
Right.
I'm planning to do this. I don't have to wait for the FDA approval. I can launch before FDA approval and work on the FDA approval while we are in production.
Very cool. This is fascinating. Thank you for sharing. I have to send it over to, for time reasons, over to Eric for our final question.
All right. Thank you, Mo. It's a great presentation. The final question is, what can we as a community do for you?
A great question. As a community, as it started yesterday, a crowdfunding campaign with Indiegogo. And this is the link for the crowdfunding campaign. Also, if you go to my page, rakc.org, you will find the links all over the place. Wherever you hit, it will take you over there. The good thing with Indiegogo, once you hit 30% of your target in the first 3 days, then you are almost guaranteed you will be overachieving. And I want from our community to help me to overachieve this. It's brand new, it's less than 24 hours right now, active. And I timed this to get the support of my community. Also to benefit my community in 2 ways. The first way, you can claim this donation in your tax return. The second way, it will qualify you for 10% discount on the future investment we will open in AKC. And that every time we open a new company with AKC. The point is to have an AKC as a repetitive model that you can repeat all over the world.
Okay.
That's why we will have more companies in the future.
Okay, great. All right. Share my screen one more time so I can introduce Josh Zepess, a man who is more jacked than a car with 4 flat tires. Josh, tell us about identity archaeology.
Sure. All right, let me share my screen here and get to it. I'm a reformed engineer, which means I used to know technology, but now I struggle just like everyone else. All right. Can everyone see the screen?
Yes.
All right. Cool. So everyone, take an intentional breath. Give yourself permission to be human and just take a look at the scene. Clarity. It's my favorite C word, to be honest. All right, now buckle your seatbelts. Here we go. We've all been there, right? Our ideal prospect walks up to us at a networking event or social situation, introduces themselves, and asks us the most important business question we're ever going to be asked. Hey, so tell me, what do you do? And then we freeze. We stumble, we fumble, our blood pressure starts to go up. If we get anything out, it's usually that borrowed title that's on our business card. Or maybe we just vomit a comprehensive list of all the stuff we do in our own industry jargon that no one else really understands. And then our ideal prospect smiles and nods very politely and excuses themselves to the bathroom, right? Hey, I know from experience, I've sent a lot of people to the bathroom. And what's strange to me is that we know we're going to be asked this question. We know we're going to have to answer it. And yet we may have just burned another business first impression. Look, I'm not trying to make anyone feel bad, but if I hit you, I didn't mean to miss you either. I just want us to feel a sense of urgency. See, everyone's heard that you don't get a second chance to make a first impression. The real crime is too many talented professionals, they don't get a first chance to make that second impression, where you really sit down one-on-one and convert someone into a client and really, really help them, share your gift with them. So I'm Josh Zepess, and I am the identity archaeologist. And I do get a lot of folks asking like, Josh, what the heck does that even mean? Well, honestly, it means I have no competition, at least as most people define it. By the way, how cool would that be? Just to eliminate your competition. Now, and that honestly, that's not just a fancy label I came up with. It really does speak to how I bring my specific genius to my product and service. And I'm on a mission, right? I'm on a mission. It's a dagger to my soul, honestly, each time I see a talented professional with a heart and a business of gold, unable to get the time of day from their ideal prospect because they lack the skill, they lack the message, or they just lack the confidence to bring their humanity to their business, to just be a human being, to make that connection and to attract people into their circle. So those people give them a chance just to listen. So I want to talk today about why we struggle, especially solopreneurs out there and professionals. Why do we struggle to attract people in? Why are we in the grind of sales, so to speak? So first, honestly, we just refuse to differentiate. It's not that we can't even, which is crazy. We just have this weird aversion to it. So it's almost like we're afraid to stand out. Maybe every inch of originality was beaten out of us as a kid. Maybe we just found it easier to borrow a brand from another company. But a lot of us are just business shy. Second is we don't even know what we do. Well, all right, we kind of have an idea, but we don't know how to articulate it. We don't know how to get that message across in an effective way. And then finally, we just offer what's on the shelf. Doesn't it ever just feel like sometimes you're trying to sell a box of Cheerios, trying to convince people to buy from you and not from the person down the street? That's a tough, tough way to go. Look, you might be a professional, you might even be a solopreneur, but boy, is it crowded out there. We just can't simply shout louder over the noise of a crowded industry and expect to be noticed, especially if we're saying the exact same thing as everybody else, which if you look at any industry, financial services or real estate or life coaching even, we all say the same stuff. So we have to be saying something different. We have to be meaning something different. We actually have to be feeling something different. So what can we do about it? I want to suggest 3 key steps to rising above the crowd so we can stop shouting so much and we can just start shining. And then I think you're going to have a better idea of how I'm looking to change the world. So step 1, discover your brand. Remember what a brand is. Let's just make sure we're all on the same page. A brand is just that gut feeling that someone gets the moment you walk into a room. It's not how they think about you. It's not what they think about you. It's how they feel about you. It's almost uncontrollable. It's what you say and it's what you don't say, especially. So the good news is you don't have to create it. I'm not suggesting you go out and try and create a brand. Just let it out. See, your clients, I promise, your clients are thirsty for authenticity. That means they want to know why you care long before they care what you know. So find your why and lead with it. And it starts with you. So look, it's one thing to get your 500 business cards, your website, your logo, and all this kind of stuff. That's wonderful. And I'm not saying those are bad things, but they're not your brand. It's a completely different thing to have clarity on why you get out of bed every morning and the confidence to share it, your story, your vision, your mission. And all it does, it just takes a little digging, right? It just takes it bringing that stuff to the surface. Second, once you're clear on why you exist, now go ahead and articulate the emotion. So take a break off the verbal barfing. We do that. We all do this, right? The informational verbal barfing on people of all the stuff that we do. I want you to imagine transmitting how you feel to another person, to how you feel about what you do to others. Now, honestly, the best way to do this is telepathy, right? From my mind to your mind kind of thing, a little Star Trekky. But if you don't have the skill of telepathy, I understand. Do it through imagery, through words, through emotion, your pitch, your website, social media, flyers, every first impression that goes out there. Bring your authenticity to it and bring a little bit of that emotion to it as well, the right emotion. So for example, when someone says, tell me about yourself, what they're really saying is, please connect with me. So imagine instead of the unemotional, I am Josh, I am a branding expert, I'm in Orlando, Florida, I'm looking for this kind of prospect. I call it Yam's disease. I am. What if you just shared your mission? What if you just share what excites you, or what got you out of bed that morning, or what pisses you off even? Just share something that is true. And I know it sounds crazy to be this open and honest in business, but I want you to imagine that vulnerability is actually a superpower, not a weakness. And finally, create a signature service. So we must stop commoditizing our services, even if it is a commodity, which most people, we're all selling commodities, believe it or not. Here's your product or service, right? Sexy, nice filing box. Now imagine taking your genius, your uniqueness, identity, passion, genius, whatever that is, bringing it to your service and creating something completely new. Because I want to share a hard truth with you. Your product and your service is probably very duplicatable. Someone can come along and do it better, faster, cheaper. But you aren't. Your mission, your values, your stand, your story, all that stuff is so unique, it cannot be duplicated by anyone else. So if you think I'm suggesting just getting paid for being yourself, yeah, it really is kind of what I'm saying. So I have the honor to bring folks through a process of creating clarity for them, helping them dig all that good stuff up, articulating it out to the world in the compelling first impression that brings people into their circle, and then turning their commodity into a signature service. And it's a lot of fun. My number one goal, honestly though, high level, I want to bring humanity back to business. So in other words, I want to raise the ROC, return on conversation, whether it be one-on-one, one on 100,000 or million, make every conversation more productive and profitable, and get people out of the grind of sales. And let's get into the flow of connection. So appreciate you guys. It's always such an honor to share with 1 Million Cups. Hopefully I have just a few asks here. Did this shift your perspective on anything? Number 2, did it drive your curiosity? And number 3, who else needs to hear this stuff? Because I love sharing. I will shout this stuff, I'll be nice here, from the rooftops. And I don't plan on stopping anytime soon. This is no longer what I do, it's now what I am. So thank you.
All right. Thank you very much. So I guess my first question is your introduction. How do you make that work for yourself? What do you say to people when you're at a networking event?
That's a good question. Actually, I don't use scripts, and this is going to sound kind of weird. I don't believe in scripts and having like exact words that you have to say. I believe in something called flow. And all of flow is, it's a construct where it just depends on how you feel that day. It depends on who you're talking to. I was serious when I said, I'd rather you share what pisses you off. I'll share with people, I say, what pisses me off? Like all these talented people just unable to get the time of day from their ideal prospect. To me, there's nothing more frustrating than when you're talking to someone and you just know that you can help them. And you're just like, please, let me help you. And they just can't see it. They don't get that connection. And that's what drives me on my mission. So every time I do a compelling first impression, it changes. But there's a general flow to it where in the beginning, the first impression is very highly emotional and very low on information. So there's a EI ratio, emotive to informative ratio, that changes depending upon first impression, second impression, third impression, you know, the client journey. So it really just depends. But I want people to be more open and more okay with just being human, just being themselves, and stop being professional. I am on a crusade against professionalism because it doesn't work.
One of the things I usually ask people when I meet them, especially at networking events, you know, once we go through the usual question and answer, is what do you like to do for fun? Or, you know, what brought you to this place, you know, this position, this job? Or if you weren't doing this, what would you be doing? If you hadn't taken the path that took you on this career, what would you be doing instead?
Yeah, no, that's actually really good. That is better than you trying to impress people with your ego and your titles and your product and service and all the stuff where it's me, me, me. That's fantastic that you just ask them questions. Let them open up. Because here's what they don't teach you in business school. People buy you first, your product and service second. And the opposite is true. If they don't buy you first, they're not going to touch your product or service, no matter how much they need it, and no matter how much they or how good it is. Right? You can have the best product in the world, no one's going to touch it unless they buy you first. So all you're doing there, Eric, is you're selling yourself a little bit. You're showing that you're okay being a human, and it's not all about business. That you can be friendly, you could be open, and you can screw up too. Right? It's okay.
The other thing I tell people when I talk about this is that, you know, this is in a way sort of like a job search. When you send out your cover letter is not to get you the job. Your cover letter is to, you know, is to get them to read your resume. The resume doesn't get you the job. The resume is to get you the interview. The interview is what gets you the job. And so the introduction at a networking meeting is not to make the sale. The interview at the networking meeting, or the meeting at the networking meeting, is to get coffee, or to, you know, get lunch. And then to get lunch is to then leads to deepening the relationship. And then that leads to, you know, the friendship, the business relationship, the sale, the what have you. So it doesn't happen right there when you meet that person first. This is a dance, and it takes a little while.
Yeah, absolutely. I always ask people, I said, what if you just stop selling? Do you realize you can actually be more profitable if you just stop selling? By the way, I'm not talking about big companies here. I'm talking about solopreneurs, people that they do every aspect of their business. What if you just stopped selling and just shared? What if you just shared about your business, shared about yourself, just connect with that person in a way where they actually like you, and then it'll lead to that conversation. Then you can go down that path to the product or service. But we are so focused on selling, and selling is very repelling. When I say selling, I'm talking traditional sales, where you're chasing people, you're trying to convince them, right? I always tell people, just imagine you're a lighthouse. If you really want to get a concept of this, just imagine you're a lighthouse. Lighthouses don't go out to the sea and chase the ships in distress. Right? Lighthouses don't beg the ships in distress to come into shore. Lighthouses don't leave voicemails. Don't take ships out in distress to a steak dinner. Lighthouses just stand there. They do nothing but stand there, but they shine a purpose. They stand for something. They stand for safety. They stand for security. They stand for shoreline. What if you just actually stood for something, and then you shared what that something was? Do you realize how magnetic that is? That is so compelling. That will bring people into your circle, and the right people on top of that, instead of you chasing around, because the chasing and the grind, I did it. It sucks. I want to see people get away from that, and I want to see people start enjoying their business again.
Great.
Gosh, you're right. The first rule of sales is get the people talking about themselves. Ask a million questions. Ask good pointed questions, but get them talking about themselves, because then they feel better and they feel more comfortable with you. You're absolutely right. If you come right out and try to sell, you're not going to get anywhere.
Yeah, and do it genuinely too.
Yeah.
Let them know, like, actually care about that person. Don't fake it. Don't just ask questions for the sake of asking questions, but genuinely care about another human being,
And you
because
should.
you're secure
That's
enough in
gonna be your
yourself
client.
to do
You
so.
should be concerned about them and their welfare.
Yeah.
That's known as customer service.
It's
Mark
known
had a
as caring.
question.
Yeah.
Mark, go ahead.
Yeah, Josh, I really appreciate this. For me, it ended up being all about the story, the why.
Yeah.
And I started out. I work with a lot of student chapters in the optics and photonics industry, and my initial talks were all very technical. Here's what we're making. Here's what it's good for. And ultimately, the most popular talk that I gave and still give is one that's called "Harnessing Light for a Better World," and it's really about why optics and photonics is important to me. The things that I found optics being used for, basically people remembering the Holocaust with 3D, 3D and artificial intelligence, so you can have a conversation with a Holocaust survivor even after they've passed away. The 2 billion eyes glasses that I've shared with the group, before, and and I think the fact that I'm alive today because of colonoscopies that killed both of my parents, to really personalize it. And that seems to be, more attractive to the students. And even I go into an optics company where the people have been doing optics for 30 years, they like the format of this. And I've been using that now when I see students putting together their resumes and going out to apply for jobs. They still talk about what they did. They don't talk about the purpose behind what they did. And sometimes they don't even know until you ask them like that question, why, 10 times. Okay, you're set up in the lab to do this. Somebody's funding it. Why are they funding it? Oh, well, they're funding it because they're hoping to do this. For example, detect pinworms. In a easy, more reliable fashion. And why are they interested in that? Because it affected friends of theirs. And trying to get them to that point. And it kind of still surprises me today how few people can make those extensions and then turn it into a story that's passionate about why they're doing something. And so I really kind of admire the approach here. I think it's a good way to go.
Thank you. And Mark, you bring up an excellent point. Even technical people, like I was an engineer for 20 years in semiconductors, even technical people, believe it or not, this is going to be tough to understand, but we're still people. We're still human beings. We still buy an emotion first and back it up later with logic. I know it's crazy. We have a heart. We feel emotions. Now we may suppress those emotions like Rupert over there, like he might be like the Vulcan, or we just see Vulcans still have emotions. They just know how to control them. They suppress them. But look, at the end of the day, we're still humans and we still make decisions the same way. So if you want to get to the heart of an engineer, you still got to go through the heart. You still have to go through that aspect. And that's why I asked Mohd this question, and I appreciate you, Mo, for sharing, is why do you care so much about this? And what a powerful story you had there that you shared with us. That should be part of every presentation that you do. You need to share that. I need to know why you care so much before I care all about what you know and all your technicalities of your product and your service. So yeah.
Anyone else have a question? Comment, observation?
Well, there's definitely an art to pitching.
Yeah.
I mean, most of you know that I learned how to pitch from, one of the greatest pitch masters in the world, Kevin Harrington. And, there's a cadence to it. There's say this first to your elevator pitch is to convert an uninterested party into an interested party in 5 to 10 seconds, right? And then you go into your social pitch, why should they listen to you, right? And then, what's your purpose and all that. So what you're doing is excellent. It's just people need to understand how they can differentiate themselves instantly from other people, but with purpose, right? It's like, oh, I'm different because of something stupid. No, I'm different because this is what I am. Like Mark was mentioning, like students, they don't have anything to go on as far as their past is concerned. What they have to go on is the purpose and what they want to do in the future and how they want to change the world, but they have to be specific about it. And so like when you have a business and you're trying to get people interested in you and your business, you've got to hit them right between the eyes, right?
Yeah.
In 5 or 10 seconds. And then in the ensuing 90 seconds, get them to just like open their checkbooks or whatever. And you're
Yeah.
right, you know, with selling, what I learned when I was growing up in sales and whatnot, there's only 3 reasons they don't buy from you, right? 1, they don't like you. 2, they don't understand the product, or 3, they can't afford it. That's it. And so the biggest thing that people were having trouble understanding was they don't like you. It's like, wait a minute, how come somebody not like me, right? And it's like, you know, and so yeah, everything that you're saying is awesome.
Thank you. Yeah, and that speaks to, and when I say I'm not a fan of professionalism, professionalism gets too close to perfectionism.
Yeah.
And perfectionism, you can't be perfect and be human at the same time. So perfectionism is automatically fake. And when you go do a pitch, they're buying you first, right? You'll agree with this, Rupert. I'm sure this is what Kevin Harrington taught as well, that it doesn't matter. You can have the best product or service in the world, the absolute best, but if they don't believe that you care, that you're going to show up, that you're going to put the time and effort, the blood, sweat, and tears in, they ain't touching it. Like if they're not going to work with you, it's that simple. It could be the best invention in the world.
Yeah.
They're not going to touch it if they don't trust you, if they don't like you, if they don't think they can work with you.
Yeah. I mean, I consider that actually a combination of the 2 things, right? So develop a script, right? However, know it so well that you never say it the same way twice, right?
Yeah.
Because it's a conversation.
Yeah.
You're just going through the various points of your script in a conversation at ease and, you know, speaking with somebody, and that's how you do that. Yeah.
And that's what a flow is. All the difference between a
Flow,
script and a flow is basically, may start as a script, but it becomes the truth. See, when you just speak the truth, when you're being honest and open and genuine, you don't need a script. You just need to be you. You just need to share. It's when we start to try and fake it that we need the special scripts, and we think we need to be perfect, and we need to bring all these professional elements in. But nah, just be you. Be honest.
Josh, you got a perfect program for service organizations like Rotary. And the reason why I say that is what Rotary needs is membership. They need to grow. Most people never ask. If you go to Rotary itself, there's 1.2 million Rotarians around the world. Probably 90% of them have never sponsored a number member. Reason why is they don't have an elevator speech. They don't sell themselves before they sell Rotary itself. If you ask them, what is Rotary? Just a 30-second elevator speech will do it pretty easily. Now I have it, so I bring a lot of people obviously into Rotary. A lot of people don't. What's going to happen if you talk to Rotary clubs? Obviously, you're not going to be paid for it, but it's all business and community leaders. Somebody's going to say, our company really needs this at our next business seminar. And that's where you can make a lot of money doing this. And there's nothing wrong with that. And you should be rewarded for what you're doing, because you're passing out wisdom that most people just don't even think about. And that's the problem out there. They don't think about it.
So what's our elevator pitch for 1 million cups?
1 million cups.
It's the one I
cups.
give at the beginning of our sessions. It's more than a networking group. It's a community of entrepreneurs.
Yeah. Or just even asking a question. Have you ever wanted to get in front of an engaged audience and get honest feedback about what you're doing before you fall off the cliff, before you end up quitting and going back to corporate America, before you give up? Have you ever, how valuable would that be? Oh my God, that would be great. Wonderful. Well, we have this opportunity. We're doing it. We're doing it every Wednesday morning.
Or are you
I don't know. I'm just making that up, right? That's just on the spot, but something like that.
Innovator, inventor, or are you an entrepreneur? And do you know the difference?
Yeah.
All right. Well, I think we are out of time, so I'm going to share my screen one last time. Just a quick reminder, download the chat. We had some good information up there. Mo, if you want to drop your Indiegogo link in the chat too, go ahead and do that. And then everybody download the chat before I sign off, and then you'll have everything that we've shared today. Connect with somebody here. If you spoke to somebody, if you heard from somebody, connect with them. Drop your email in the chat so people can connect with you, and just have a Zoom call or phone call with somebody and get to know them even a little bit. Don't forget to join meetup.com. And if it's 1 million cups for Orlando, every word is hyphenated. That is a 1, not an I. But join the meetup group, join the Facebook group. That way we can communicate updates about meetings with you. That's where you found the link to be able to join us. And next week, we're still working on who our speakers are going to be. So if you would like to give a presentation, because you have not yet, Mitch, we'd love to have you join. Just go to 1millioncups.com/Orlando and you can sign up and get in the system, and Josh will coach you and help you with your presentation and get you all set to give the kinds of presentations that we saw Mo and Josh do today.
And even if you
So-
wouldn't like to present, Eric always says if you like to present, but if you don't want to present, go to 1millioncups.com/Orlando, apply to present anyways, and we will go ahead and change your attitude about sharing what you do, so you're not a secret agent anymore. Thank you.
All right. So thank you very much, and we will see you all next week.
Take care, guys.
Bye-bye, everybody.